What's up, guys? Today we're going to be interviewing Cherry Reaper Gaming. He is an interesting, eccentric poster on Zodiac Duelist and a small YouTuber. He is the owner of over 600 copies of Peaceful Burial and was the owner of over 1,000 copies of Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. You can find his YouTube channel in the card above and in the description below. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and let's not waste any more time and hop straight into the interview. Let's start off easy, my guy. What got you into Yu-Gi-Oh?
First and foremost, when I was younger, I always used to look up to like some of the older kids. And when I was around 4, that's what all the older kids were doing, were just playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And my cousins at the time gave me a few of their cards that were left over. And I would go home, and every like morning when Yu-Gi-Oh was on TV, I would play like exactly the same type of card, Monster Spell Trap, that Yugi and Kaiba were playing while they were facing on the big screen. And that's how I learned the mechanics of the game. That's how I started, I guess. It was just me following the older kids.
What or who inspired you to make Yu-Gi-Oh content?
Yeah, I guess when I was a little kid, actually, I would say even like when I was maybe a preteen, like 10, 11, 12, I used to tune into, YouTube a lot for Yu-Gi-Oh content. And your Yu-Gi-Oh channel was someone who I used to watch a lot, one of the OGs. And I
Oh,
also used
that
to
one's
watch,
really old.
yeah, Pro Winston as well. I used to tune into him. There was a lot. Mega Capital G was also on the come up.
That was back when I was in high school. You're talking like 2007, 2008.
Yeah. And I always said, I'm like, you know what? When I get in the position where I can actually make Yu-Gi-Oh content, I'll do it. And here I am now. I've run into like, I have adults money, like that's what they're calling it now. So I can afford,
Big kid
I
money.
can afford cards that I wasn't able to before. And it just perked up that, hey, I have these cards now. They're relevant. I can now chase, my dreams to become a Yu-Gi tuber.
All right.
But I have to say it was your Yu-Gi-Oh channel that probably sparked my interest on the whole thing.
All right. Would you say you pull personality-wise from anybody?
Okay, so I get this, which is the trif thing. I get a lot of like comparisons to Trif, which is really weird because I don't really see myself anything like Trif. Like he's a hard gym guy. I'm like an accountant, right? I sit on my computer all day. I think my personality is pretty like I'm inspired by Trif's energy.
I think that's what
But
it is.
yeah, I think that's something that the Yu-Gi-Oh community lacks, is just, that eccentric energy. It's good for impact. Eventually I want to, talk Yu-Gi-Oh, like when I present myself, I want to be able to go on the lines of like one of these analytical guys, that are very like perceptive, like Lithium or Joshua Schmidt, who just, congrats to him, came first place at Utrecht, right? So those are the guys I want to eventually be like.
So like sabermetrics for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. I saw you collabed with MCole40 and Trif at some point. What was that like?
I collabed with Trif. MCole40, we kind of have this like funny back and forth thing where I try to grab his attention. Like I'll hop on his streams and I'll make donations and try to grab his attention. And like I do, and make it successful. Like, and we go back and forth, and like he talks trash, and it's like nice friendly banter. I mean, that's fun. Eventually I think we may collab on a video. We'll see. But Trif Gaming, I actually collabed with him, and it was a very fun time. Again, it was all about the content that like I tried to put forward, where I'm like, hey, I have 1,000 cherries. I bought these out. What can I do with them? And I'm like, you know what? This would make for some good content. Why don't I just kickstart a YouTube channel and try to get one of these big heads' attention? And I got Trif's attention. And lo and behold, he lives like near me, right? So it was so easy to connect with him. The guy's amazing. Like probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. And it was just, it was such a fun time.
Oh yeah, people love Trif, my guy. Dude, I've even seen like Japanese people. They love him. Like he's like big over here to some extent.
Yeah, he's actually like, I would say he's one of the most charismatic people. And funny enough, at YCS Niagara, when the top 32 was going on, there was a crowd over there watching them, like go head to head, some of the best players in the world. There was a bigger crowd watching Trif at Giant Card. So like this guy is I have to say, when he walks into a YCS, definitely the most likable guy there. Brings the best energy, I think, into the room.
Last of the softball questions, my guy. What's your favorite Ghost Girl hand trap?
Yeah, it's got to be Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. I think that's an obvious given. It's not even close. All the other ones are like too generic, So when Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries was on the low key, I tried to hop on that train. It's been good. Like I actually love that I've been able to actually play that card competitively at some point. It helped me top my first regional top ever was definitely assisted by Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. It's just so powerful to banish the Kikalos.
Yes.
And I was playing Scareclaw, right? So just having that exhilarating feeling and knowing that that card has actually helped me move and progress in my competitive side. Pretty much my entire persona is built around that card. I think, yeah, that's gotta be easily my favorite Ghost Girl.
Are you gonna buy 3 ultimates of it?
No, no, no. Okay, so honestly, I don't think I would buy that card. I think I would want to pull it. You know,
All
like
right.
I don't think I think I spent enough money on Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries.
That's fair enough. How
Yeah.
much would you say the buyouts and posts on Zoo helped your social media grow?
I think initially definitely like got a lot of people's attention. I like even before Trif and all that collaboration, I was known as like the Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries guy just because I kept posting about like market updates on it and stuff like that. And it was literally just me. Like every time I'd buy a few, I would see some other people buying, and I'm like, whoa, people are actually catching on. Like people are loading up with me. Let's see if I can make content to like contact with them through Zodiac just so that we can like relate that hey we're buying out a card like that would be cool. I honestly don't sell any cards that often. I just sell like jank. So I just did it for fun, really. I've been doing these buyouts, and I'm like, I now I'm gonna stuck with like 1,000 copies of a card, and I don't know what to do with it. And I want to start a Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Let's just make content. And so my most recent buyout with Peaceful Burial, I literally just used it to make one post on Zodiac, be like, oh, I get to bury my competition peacefully now. So again, it's just gimmicks and gags, but it is fun. I think it does contribute to content.
Well, how much of what you do online is just a persona or a character that you play?
Oh, it's all a character, man. Like if you know me in real life, this is the complete opposite of what I do in real life. Like I'm an accountant. I'm amongst like probably the most quiet person in the room. I'm not like a very hyper person at all. It's just something that I do because I think it's like one, it's fun, and I really think content creating is like an art. The fact that I'm able to express myself in this way through my content is it's like a nice way to be energetic. This is my calorie burn almost. And
So it's like a
at the end of the
performative
day,
art.
yeah, I think so. I would say it's something like that. And I think the whole persona that I'm trying to make now is definitely based off of something my marketing professor told me in university, which was no one leaves a review when they like the food at a restaurant. They only leave a review if they hate the food. And that just goes with my douchey persona, like a little bit, like the sunglasses, the bucket hats, like it's the most douchiest thing ever, but it grabs people's attention. And that type of impact was what I wanted to do at the very start. It's been like a double-edged sword in that, okay, I'm getting subscribers and views, but now I'm getting a lot of hate. And at the same time, when you get that hate, it's like, I'm so glad I'm getting this early because say it was like at 10K subs and I've only got nothing but love, I would never know how to deal with the hate. And now I just treat hate like a very positive contribution to my content creation, right? Especially since all I'm doing is harmless stuff.
How would you say you came up with this character?
Yeah, I think a little bit it was like I seen that Trif, he gained a lot of subscribers from being energetic. And at the same time, I've like, you know what? I kind of want to be like unique in that I'll take that energetic energy, right? Add to it a bit of hip hop style themes to it. I like the bucket hat. I think it's like trending now in the hip hop community. And then I play like trap music in the background of all my videos. And I'm like, if I can combine the hype beast stuff with Yu-Gi-Oh and add a little energy in there, I'll have something that's trending that a lot of these younger people would be more attracted to.
Would you say an exaggerated personality of some kind is key to making content, or do you think you can get away with being yourself?
Oh, you could definitely get away with being yourself. I think most creators are themselves, right? It's just that they're charismatic, that they're able to push forward. Now, there's nothing wrong with being yourself, but I think there's a niche that isn't completely satisfied, and that's why Trif is doing so well. I don't want to say that his persona is not real, right? But like he brings energy, and so I took that and I'm like, there's not a lot of fake personas in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Everyone's like playing themselves, right? If I can create this character that people can tune in like an anime, and I can take inspiration from all these other creators, I might have something here that's pretty fun to tune into. So that's where I've been experimenting, and it's been working for me. So yeah, I think a new persona might be beneficial in some way.
Some more general Yu-Gi-Oh questions now. So do you think Konami should use the semi-limited list more liberally, or do you think it is the eternal Mali holding cell?
Yeah, I like this question a lot. I actually like the semi-limited list part of the list the most out of everything on the ban list. And this is like a hot take because everyone's saying it's useless. But say you're like a competitive player. If you've ever had like a card go to two, have you ever like built a deck and you have like one card spot left in your deck and you're like, what do I do here? How do I put a card in there but not hurt the optimization, right?
You throw in an
Because
upstart goblin, my guy.
yeah, you throw in an upstart goblin or something like that, but like let's say the upstart goblin's already in there, and now with the time rulings, upstart is bad. It's like now what do you actually do here, right? Because
Oh man.
so it really does like add a lot of heat to deck building that I really like. It makes deck building a lot more fun, but also it makes it a lot more difficult. Your deck's still good, it's still tier one, but now you have to play around with the optimization a bit more, and the deck building part got a lot harder. It adds a bit of creativity to deck building, and I like that.
Do you think there are any cards on the limit 1 slot right now that could go to limit 2?
I'm like in between a few of them, like shooting Riser Dragon, now that Hulk's band can go to 2 and stuff like that. But I think a lot of those cards are in the right spot. It's just the cards that are at 1 are intentionally there to hurt something in the game that became too common. It's a completely different purpose than just semi-limit, where they're now trying to test your ability to deck build. They are intentionally, with the limit section of the list and the forbidden section, trying to eliminate things from the meta. Things out there that I would like to see maybe at 2-3, maybe Astrograph Sorcerer. I don't know if it's at 2-3 yet, but that should go
No,
to
it's not.
2-3. That card I think should is it's about time to go to 2-3. But aside from that, really, I couldn't tell you. I would have to really like look at that list and be like, every day's different. What am I feeling today?
What
Yeah.
cards do you think are needlessly forbidden right now?
Looking at the list, hot take, Red Reboot, I think can come back to 1. I know a lot of people don't like that take. I just think it was so extreme and it wasn't even like seeing that much play. And trap decks aren't really a thing right now. There's no skill in setting 5 and passing, in my opinion. Like I think it's probably one of the most brain dead things that you can do in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fact that someone could just say, hey, here's a 1 of in my deck that shuts down your entire deck. Why not have Red Reboot, right? And time rulings, Red Reboot's going to be bad. I don't know. I think Red Reboot's one of those things where I think, hey, let's see it back at 1 or 2.
Maxi or Mystic Mine, which would you rather see at 3?
Mystic Mine is probably the worst card in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of its negativity on the meta. I mean, it's the whole reason why Crossout Designator is the card that you look at all, right? That card is just not fair, especially if you're playing
Wait, did you mean
like
Maxi is the worst one?
yeah, Maxi's the worst. Yeah, I think it's the worst card ever in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like it's just too strong. Mystic Mine, I've made videos about this, is a toxic card that should be banned 100%. But after my conversation with Von Gear, I looked at the card and I'm like, this card punishes really hard meta decks and gives a chance to those decks that don't really have a chance. But meanwhile, Max C, no, that card's bad. Every deck would literally play Max C. Even the meta decks, you give them Max C, it's like, oh, I just made this board, 1 card in hand, Max C, draw like 6 cards. It's not fair. No, no, no.
Yeah, living over here in Japan and seeing the OCG players deal with it, man, it's a trip. I know there's
Yeah,
a group of OCG players down in Tokyo and Osaka. They literally will open and play TCG format just to avoid Maxi. But all right, man.
perfect.
Favorite Yu-Gi-Oh content creator all time?
Okay, all time, I got to give it to your Yu-Gi-Oh channel. I mean, if you saw what that guy did like early on, wow, like this guy was literally like he perfectly captured what it is to be a Yu-Gi-Oh player at these regionals and all that stuff. Captured so many different characters from his lens that if you had never been to a regional or YCS before, just by watching his videos, you would get the full experience. He covered everything from competitive play to pack openings, and his personality was amazing. He put some music in there at the end. All the characters were very interesting. His impact in the Yu-Gi-Oh community was one of the strongest very early on. Without him, I would say we wouldn't even have a Yu-Gi Tube community. I think he definitely made it so that Yu-Gi tubing was something to take seriously for some people, in my opinion.
We got the few questions from Zoo here. Would you be interested in a Yu-Gi Tuber boxing match? This comes from your alleged challenger.
Nah, you know what? It's really like that stuff is fun and all, but nah, I think that's a bit of a reach. I mean, you got to beat me in a duel first before you say boxing match.
All right,
Yeah,
the second question is a two-parter, my guy.
yeah, let's hear it.
Who the fuck is this dude? Also, why do you act so famous?
It's funny. A lot of people are like, who? Who? I'm like, bro, you should probably know who I am by now. Like, stop tapping. And why do I act so famous? I mean, again, it's all about that impact I was talking about earlier. Like, if I can do something like that and you're asking who, then my goal is done. The next step is you're trying to find out, right? The more you ask who, the more you find out. And then maybe that leads to a sub. But that notoriety is something that I'm trying to invoke. If that person's asking that question, then I think I've done a good job.
Let's start heading towards our wrap up. We got 2 last questions here.
See.
What's the worst comment you've gotten online that stuck with you? I feel like you've gotten some shit and some of it's got to stick out.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. Okay, so some comments I would say it's like I did a whole cake comment video, and some of those were like, I'm gonna put like a limit on your life or something like that. Like there's been some death threats and stuff that I've received, and I'm like, man, people are trying to kill me over Yu-Gi-Oh! I know it's all joking and stuff like that. That's why I made the video. But it's just like it feels like I've become a source for some people to exert a little anger, like, oh, I'm having a bad day at work. I'll go talk smack about this guy. But I love it because it's like all attention's good attention, especially if your content's harmless.
So what do you want people to know about you personally as we start winding down here and heading towards the end?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely new. I'm the new kid on the block, and we try to make a lot of noise over at Cherry Reaper Gaming. But again, at the end of the day, our whole goal here is to spread a lot of positivity to the Yu-Gi-Oh community because if you just tune into Twitter and Facebook, there's a lot of problems in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, a lot of drama, and my goal here is to be a completely drama-free and source of positivity and entertainment that adds on to the Yu-Gi-Oh community. I hope that's my ultimate goal, and I look forward to growing as a channel and seeing us actually accomplish something good for everyone.
All right, man. Any last words?
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you. If you haven't subscribed to this guy, subscribe to him right away, bro. This is like probably one of the nicer guys in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, and his content's just popping.
All right, man. Well, that's it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take it easy, man.
Cheers.
Peace.